I just got back from a 2-day antiquing trip to Ocala, Florida. I wasn't trying to source a lot because I really have a backlog right now, but I wanted to see what was out there in the shops. I wanted to check out these shops because I've lived here for 5 years now in the winter and I've never been to Ocala antique stores before, and I had a great time. This video is all about sharing that trip with you. Hi, I'm Carol. I sell vintage on Etsy, and a lot of what I share here on my channel is all about making sourcing decisions for your shop if you are an Etsy seller or any type of vintage seller on any platform. I knew when I went to Ocala these last 2 days that I was not going to source a lot, and I didn't. But if you stick around to the end of the video, I will show you what I purchased. I will tell you that probably half of it is personal purchases that I made because I really did not need to add any more to my stash, though I did find a few things. Let's head off to Ocala. Now, this was the first time I had ever shot video in an antique store. I videoed in Goodwill before, but I really felt like in an antique mall I needed to get permission from the owner or the manager to film, and I was really nervous about asking, but I did. And I met Jennifer, the manager, and she was so nice. She said, "Do you want me to turn the music down for you?" And I told her that was okay. I would just probably be voicing over. But she was so nice and so accommodating. And this was a really fun mall. There was all kinds of goods here. I loved looking at all the glass. That's always my favorite. The thing that I first noticed about this store was how beautiful the individual displays in the booths were. I really was impressed by that, and of course I continued to be impressed by that at all of the Ocala stores I went to. They were really pretty upscale and they had some really nice stuff. Take a look here at a few more of the things from Wildwood Antique Mall. I'm always thrilled when I come across Blinko glass, and I really wanted those two glasses, but I left them behind. Now, I really restrained myself sourcing the prices. Most of them here were really good, especially good if you're a collector. There were a few good bargains for people who would be reselling, but I was being extremely picky. I just think it's really interesting to see what's being displayed, how the displays are being set up in the booths, because I always like to find ideas for my own booth, and I like to pay attention to what merchandise is there, what looks like it's been there for a long time, and I can't really tell what's selling because I don't go to this mall at all other than this one time I visited it, so I don't really have anything to compare it to. But it is just fun to see all of this great vintage in one place to enjoy. My next stop was Mossy Oaks Antique Mall in Bellevue. Now, this just happened to pop up on the side of the road, and I was so happy that I found it. I went in, and it was just a gorgeous place. Beautiful displays, a lot of very upscale antiques, not just your normal vintage. Like, I didn't expect I would find a bunch of precious moments figurines here or anything like this. This was really nice glass, really nice pottery, furniture. It was kind of funny when I was shopping. I was listening to the lady checking someone else out up at the register, and the buyer was buying $921.41 worth of goods from this antique store. And I thought, wow, your whole day is made here. So I said to her when I was checking out later, it looks like your sales are pretty good here. And she said, yes. She said, and that customer comes in quite often. She owns a horse farm and she has really good taste. And so from that comment, I figured out that this customer must shop here a lot and she must spend a lot of money here. I loved looking at these silver plate serving pieces. I'm always looking for tomato serving spoons because they'll sell really well for me. I really feel like I saw more Flow Blue in this 2-day shopping trip in the one Ocala area than I had ever seen altogether in my life before. There was a lot, as you will see as we go to the different shops. There's plenty of it, but there's primitives too. These were all handmade napkins and dishcloths. And as you went around, there were a few more modern things, but mixed right in there with the ironstone and the vintage. It really was a beautiful shop. Not a lot of stuff there I was looking for, and of course, the place smelled fantastic. You'll see later whether or not I ended up with any of that good smelling stuff to bring home. I finally made it to Ocala, and my first antique store in Ocala proper was Digger's Antique Mall, and it was gigantic. There were all different kinds of vintage and antiques here, a lot more furniture. I was encouraged when I saw that they had these Mary mushrooms. I thought, wow, they're going to have some really good stuff here. And they did. As you can see, they also had just beautiful displays. A lot more furniture here than I had seen at the other two stores. Of course, they were quite a bit smaller. Again, here, all this Flow Blue, it's just everywhere. And you will see, especially on day 2, I run into a lot of it. I loved how this display was just such a cool theme. You know, the olden days, the Coca-Cola, the old bicycle. There's even an old spotlight there, and gumball machines, an old set of scales. I liked how it was themed. They did have a lot packed into some of these booths. For the most part though, it was really easy to shop, and it was just a joy to walk around and look at all of this great vintage. This was just the neatest cash register. Something they had at this store that was kind of unique, and I don't think I got a lot of footage of it, but they had all kinds of grandfather clocks, and I kind of feel like someone who works there must repair them or restore them. They even had an old clawfoot tub there in great condition that a customer was trying out for size, and I think she ended up buying it, taking it home with her. Next stop, Ocala Antique Mall and Estates. beautiful merchandise here. They had booths, and they also had areas where estates were set up that they had brought in. There were actually quite a few sales going on here, but everything was pretty much priced at retail. It was beautiful. If you were going to fill a home with antiques, this is where you need to go. Beautiful furniture, gigantic pieces, just a really nice store. The people were very kind to me when I asked permission to tape. They were just fine with it. And there's more of the blue and white. It was everywhere on this trip, and I just was surprised at what great condition most of it was in. Also, some ironstone here as well. A lot of ironstone actually at this store, more than I probably saw anywhere else. A lot of primitives, also a lot of mounted. And even though they had a lot of upscale merchandise here, they also had plenty of very commonly seen antique booth items as well. The smaller Fenton pieces, Fostoria glass, and so on. I wonder if their Blendo is selling any better than what mine is right now. Mine's not selling at all. This is one of the larger Lladró collections that I've seen. I didn't count the pieces, and some of those pieces in there are not Lladró, but there were a lot of these pieces, and they were beautifully displayed here in this case. Now, this particular mall did have some newer merchandise, the country merchandise, the silk flowers, the wreaths, and so on. But there was also plenty of Pyrex, plenty of Corningware, and there were quite a few sales going on as well when I was there. Now, I mentioned earlier that Ocala is horse country. In fact, I've heard it's the horse capital of the world. So there were a lot of horses for sale, especially in this antique mall. I saw them around every corner. I wish I had seen that tomato serving spoon when I was taping. I probably would have picked that up, although it might have been out of my budget. I don't know. And I love this camera display. I saw more interesting pieces of Hadley here than I had ever seen anywhere. I'd never seen the frame before. I'd never seen the clock. I'd never seen a lamp. I guess maybe I've had a sheltered life. I don't know. But I was so impressed by all these Hadley pieces that were for sale here. Of course, they were priced a little too high for me to be able to resell. My last stop on day one of my Ocala vintage shopping trip to new antique malls was the Old Cracker House Antique Mall. Lots of beautiful vintage barware and drinkware here. Prices here were a little bit more affordable than some of those higher end places that had the estates. This is just a beautiful lamp. I'm a sucker for lamps and clocks. I love them. I have more clocks than I have lamps, but I do love lamps. If I had more room, I'd have more lamps. Lots of familiar looking items here. Pieces we all have probably sourced and sold. And there, of course, is the ubiquitous penguin ice bucket. I'm always looking for that. My husband and I always check the prices on it every time we find one in an antique shop or mall. I looked these over since they were only $2 each, thinking I could maybe find one that my daughter, who collects cats' meows, would like, but I really didn't find one, so I left those behind. I love those Fostoria glasses. I have them. They were shown there in amber. I have them in light blue here in my Florida home. I like to use them for iced tea and iced water. and quite a collection of Princess Diana, Prince Charles collectibles. I wonder how those are selling now. There's Queen Elizabeth, and of course there's the king as a child. I have those ducks. I have 2 of them on my wall in Michigan. I didn't know there were supposed to be 3. I only have 2. So now I have something to look for. I need to look for a single one of those to complete my set. I love the mid-century stuff they had here. That yellow just really pops. They did have quite a bit of clothing here. I love this mid-century display. They had the furniture, they had the wall art right, they had the lamps right. It was just really nice. And they had a Florida section. What more could you ask? That was a really nice wall hanging. I looked at these brass dolphins and brass duck, but they were out of my price range, so I left them behind. I just enjoyed looking at them. More Mary Mushroom, and that was it for the old Cracker House. Now, I did not get a picture of the outside of the building. Day 2, my first stop was the Antique Emporium in Reddick, Florida. I did not get that picture outside, sorry about that. But the inside is just gorgeous. And again, this is a place where I think there's a lot of estate sale merchandise. And when I asked permission to take video here, the manager was very accommodating. He said, yes, of course, just don't film any of our fine jewelry. And so I didn't. This was probably one of the most beautiful lamps I'd ever seen in my life. And I loved that cake plate with that cover on it. I thought that was just gorgeous. There were so many beautiful things here, but let me tell you, I could not believe this set of, you can see it's mostly plates and cups. Look at what they wanted for that. I didn't get too many prices on this trip, but I couldn't believe what they were asking for that. Again though, here is all this flow blue. It was just gorgeous, and I like the kind that's got the gold or the gilded edges on it. And then look at all this pottery. I could not believe this. And the gentleman who was the manager told me that this particular vendor probably at one time had 10 times this much of this beautiful pottery, but he's now in assisted living, and his daughter is selling off all the rest of the items in his booth there. Again, plenty of Corningware, Pyrex, all kinds of it, and it was all priced at retail. It was beautiful though, and most of it was in super good condition. Look at all this blue and white. It just blows my mind to see that much in one place. A lot of clear glass and crystal here. I don't know how it's moving, but they did certainly have a lot of it, and a lot of beautiful glass in the cases as well. Now, because I was also looking at how these vendors set up their booth, I just got to tell you, I love these crates on the wall for holding merchandise. It was really attractive. You'll see coming up here some carnival glass. This is about the only carnival glass that I saw all day, so it must just not be selling right now. My next stop, and this is south of Ocala, back in Bellevue, was the Old Rusty Barn Antiques. This store has not been open very long. The lady who was working at the front desk told me that they had just opened last summer, and previously this building had been a daycare, which was kind of easy to see because there were a lot of small rooms. I spoke to the owner, Angela, for a good little bit, and she was really excited for me to film in her store. And why wouldn't somebody be excited for someone to film in their store? It's great publicity to get this out on the internet and have so many people see it. They had a very, very large selection here of 2 different kinds of paint and all kinds of decals and stencils. Just a whole room full of that sort of crafting supplies. And coming up on this desk, I absolutely loved this pink princess phone. I would have just loved to have had that when I was younger. Again, here we had all different kinds of vintage. Here's some primitive, some rusty old farm equipment, and there was quite a bit of mid-century merchandise there as well. I love these bright yellow and orange and greens. They just look so pretty and so cheerful. Again, there were just beautiful displays set up in this little shop. Well, I shouldn't say little, there are quite a few vendors here, and it's really would be worth your time if you ever get a chance to go to the Ocala area to visit some of these shops that I'm showing you here. This was the only place I saw vintage Barbies, but they had a really nice display. They were also selling purses here and a few pieces of newer merchandise, but for the most part this was all vintage. There were books. They had one room of all games and toys that I was unable to film because there were people in there looking at those games and toys just about the whole time that I was filming. This was a fun hallway with lots of different kinds of things, quilts, felted. There was a cute felted bird. I love these trays, and I was blown away by this beautiful display of L.A. Smith glass in that beautiful red-orange color. They had some lotions and soaps here, and I just absolutely love this little pump that they had actually going. It was very nice. Again, I saw a lot of blue and white here, some Jasperware. This was a great little shop. And the last stop of my 2-day Ocala antiquing trip was here at Ladybug Cottage in Oxford, Florida, on my way home. The owner's husband greeted me when I came in the door, and he told me that they had just opened last summer. His wife owns the business, but she's been in the vintage business in that town for quite a long time. The lady told me that they also do live Facebook sales, so maybe you'll want to check that out. This was a very cute store, probably the smallest one that I had been to, but still a great variety. There was clothing, there were books, there was glass, there was ceramics, there were just all kinds of nice things. Probably not as many primitives here as I had seen at the other places, but I really enjoyed this place. These quilts were beautiful. This is probably the biggest selection of quilts I saw, at least in one place. And some more modern merchandise. We all recognize that, don't we? This was a fun shop. A few architectural pieces and a few pieces of furniture. I've seen online where people make these date with a book packages and put them in their booths, but this is the first time I had ever actually seen them, and they were very cute. I loved that crystal butter dish, but it was out of my budget. They do carry a large selection of locally grown, locally made items like honey and candles, and it did smell pretty good in there too. This is actually right at the front of the store. They did have a nice selection of vintage clothing here and some t-shirts that people had made. I just love these little cake displays. My first stop was Wildwood Antique Mall, and I did find probably more there for myself and for one of my daughters than I bought for my shop. But the first thing I found were these two gooseberry patch recipe books. My daughter's just recently, my youngest daughter, has just started collecting these. And I am a sucker for when I walk into a shop, if I smell something that smells good, I've got to have it. So I got a set of tarts here, baby powder scented tarts, and I know I'm going to love those. They smell fantastic. The other thing that I picked up for myself, and this wasn't vintage, somebody was just selling books there, is a new KJV cross-reference study Bible. I thought this was super cute. I actually haven't taken the paper off it yet. It's really cute. It fits in a little pouch that I have for my Bible. It's teeny tiny print, but I like to have all versions of the Bible available for study. So I picked this up and I really like it. What I did purchase for my shop was this cute little crackle glass pitcher vase, and it was only $8. So I thought that was a really good deal. I sell these for $22 to $24 in my shop. That was all I got at Wildwood. My next stop was at Mossy Oaks Antique Mall in Bellevue, Florida. And again, that shop smelled great. So, you know, I walked out with some tarts from there. It was really a high-end shop. In fact, I was happy to find something there because a lot of it was out of my price range. But guess what? I found another gooseberry patch for my daughter. This one is Ready, Set, Eat. 200 quick, delicious dinner ideas. And when you've got 3 kids, you need quick dinner ideas. So I added to her collection. I was able to find a Avon Cape Cod butter dish in the ruby red, and I do sell quite a bit of this Avon Cape Cod. So I was happy to find the butter dish. I think I paid $10 for it. I can probably get $24 for it in my shop. And that was it. That was all I got there. My next step was Digger's Antique Mall right in Ocala, Florida. And yeah, they had some good smelling soap right inside the door there. So I got some handmade soap. One is Gobi Gold. The other one is Mud Spice. The other one was Lemon Jasmine. And I gave that to one of my friends here in the park. And I was able to find 2, I was excited about this, Precious Moments, I guess it's that way, Precious Moments wedding cake toppers there, and they were $10 a piece, which is a pretty good price. I sell these for, this will probably be 28, this will probably be 32 in my shop because it's bigger. I sell out of these all the time, so I was so happy to find these. At the Ocala Antique Mall and Estates, I just videotaped. I did not buy anything there. That was very high-end antiques, as you probably saw in the video. So I didn't buy anything there. I did hit a couple of Goodwills, though. I will show you what I got at the 2 Goodwills in Ocala. Actually, I think one was in Oxford. I walked in. I was really surprised to find this Blue Mountain Pottery penguin there for $5.18. I love this stuff. I've sold quite a bit of it. It sells pretty well, and I think a penguin will do really well. And I also found a trivet with a cat on it, and it was only $3.18. I think this will do well too. My other Goodwill stop in Ocala at the big superstore in Ocala. It was huge. There was people everywhere with carts. It was really hard to get through. But I found a few things that I thought were pretty good. One was this Last Supper plate. I will probably take, I don't know, maybe I'll take this off, maybe I'll leave it on. I usually take the plate hangers off when I sell them. I think it kind of cheapens it to sell it with a plate hanger on it. I don't know. Also got this single crystal champagne flute for $2.18. I have a large number of singles. I think I already have one that I can match up with this and make a pair. And the other item I got was this happy anniversary plate. And you know, I'm always looking for anniversary gifts. I thought this was really pretty and colorful, and it was only $4.18. Those were my Goodwill purchases where I went in between the other stores. Then I stopped at Old Cracker House Antiques. That was my last stop because it was right across the street from my hotel. And I also didn't purchase anything there. It was a cool store, as you saw in the footage. I just didn't find anything there. So my second day, I headed up a little bit north of Ocala to Reddick, Florida. Actually, it seemed like it was the Irvine exit. And I went to the Antique Emporium. This, again, as you saw in the video footage, was really high-end antiques and vintage. And I didn't find a whole lot there, other than I did find this Princess House glass wedding cake topper figurine, and I've actually sold one of these before, so this will be an easy listing for me to put up, and I'm always looking for those. The other thing I found there that I'm so happy to find is this Betty Crocker Parties for Children cookbook. I have a whole collection of these cookbooks in Michigan. I think I have a couple here in Florida. They have a binding that looks like this, and they're just so much fun to read because there are stories behind everything. This one is full of all kinds of games for children to play at parties, suggestions for little meals that you can serve kids, and it's just so much fun. It even starts out with a nice little story. When should we have a party? So I'm happy to have this. I think I'll be having a lot of parties with my grandchildren next summer based on this book. I was really thrilled to find this because I didn't even know this book existed. I thought I only had one more to find. I think that's the Make Ahead Meals one that I haven't found yet, but super happy to find this. At the Old Rusty Barn Antique Store, I did find another Gooseberry Patch cookbook, and it is the Ready, Set, Eat 200 Quick Delicious Everyday Dinners. I'm sure that my daughter will find this lots of fun too. And then my last stop, which was on my way back, actually almost all the way back to Wildwood, was at the Ladybug Cottage. And this is actually Oxford, Florida. And guess what? I found Weeknight Dinners cookbook here. So my daughter ended up with 4 cookbooks. I ended up with, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, about 8 things to list in my shop, and I was very happy. I hope that you have enjoyed this trip to Ocala with me. And even though I didn't buy a lot for my shop, I had a lot of fun. I saw what was out in the shops, and it was just a nice, relaxing getaway for a couple of days where I didn't have to feel the pressure of, oh, I should get a few more things listed, or, oh, I should work a little bit on the next video. And so I had a really good time. Thank you for sharing this time with me. And by the way, if you have hung around to the end, you know that I have asked my regular viewers to post some questions in the comments that I can use for a question and answer video in February. So hopefully you guys are on that. You're thinking up questions that new Etsy sellers or people who sell vintage online regularly might have for me. So I appreciate that. And on top of that, I will just tell you that I'm so grateful for any time anyone comments on my video or likes a video, because that helps my videos so much. You know, the ones where I get a lot of likes and a lot of comments, those get pushed out to even more people. And so it really helps my channel, and I appreciate that. Thanks for being here today.